Morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Thursday. I hope you are doing wonderful out there. You know what? The wind has been blowing really windy today here in the Valley of the Sun. You know what? And I don't know, a lot of dust in the air and everything else. Been battling almost like an allergy probably coming around. But, hey, I'm tough. I'll get through it. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And, man, what a crazy last 24 hours or so. So yesterday, the Dow was down pretty big, and then the announcement comes out, hey, we're going to give the auto industry a 30-day reprieve. They're going to move now to April the 2nd. And I'm thinking to myself, man, couldn't you have done that when you made the announcement, right? Because remember I kept saying all last week, and so far there's no exceptions, there's no this, there's no that. Like, it's going to be 25% across the board, 10% on the energy, and all of a sudden yesterday, here comes the exception. I remember they already delayed it once, right? So sloppy is what I will call it. Wall Street and everybody really kind of confused this morning. They're now saying, hey, there may be others, primarily maybe some of the produce, some other things, some other exceptions that may be coming. We don't know what, right? So we don't know if is this a temporary, kind of like the autos. Hey, they're saying it's coming, but now it's going to be April 2nd. And part of the reason they were saying, well, that way they'll be tariffing all autos 25% because, Europe, we're going to hit them and, what have you. I don't know. I don't know that, but there are, Lutnick was out saying that there are going to be other exceptions to the tariffs on Mexico and Canada. Nothing on China. China looks like they've already dug in. The trade war is real when it comes to that. Walmart this morning saying that they have talked to all of their Chinese suppliers, asking them to eat the cost of the tariffs. And Walmart got told some yes, that had enough of the margin, but Walmart said, hey, a bunch of them already said, hey, you guys make us charge it next to nothing anyway, so yeah, no, can't do it, because at that point, then we wouldn't make any money. You know how that goes. So really confusing, Jason. I will say that this is probably one of the more disappointing things so far from the Trump administration. Obviously they gave Canada and Mexico a 30-day extension, then full tariffs, and yesterday it's the autos, today it's something. This stuff should have been done ahead of time, right? A lot of scrambling around and makes everybody, a little uncertain. And the new ones that are supposed to come out, I don't know what they are, but everyone's kind of highlighting food. A lot of produce from Mexico, and people are talking about, we've got all kinds of treaties, if you will, that we have signed with Mexico and Canada, and so we'll see. I don't know, right? So the tariff's still up in the air. Some are on, some are delayed, right? Some we don't know if they're on or if they're just delayed. But I guess we'll continue to watch. The good part is it's given Wall Street some relief, which, hey, that's not a bad thing. The hard part, though, is a lot of companies scrambling because they don't know what to do. And, again, if we're going to want these jobs to come to the U.S., They got to go into effect, right? You can't. That's the only way. So, like the auto stuff is coming. They just gave them another, almost 30 days, right? So they're saying, hey, April 2nd, that'll be the new go date for them. Some of the food stuff, I don't know. I don't know what to say. The farmers are not happy. The half-empty cup, tune in. We got Bill Roberts today. And, of course, he's our expert when it comes to the ranchers and the farmers. He's all over it. And you've seen probably the news. A lot of the farmers and the ranchers, right, they're confused. They don't know what to do. Donald Trump said, hang in there, right, at the address the other day. Okay, farmers, yeah, you're gonna have to eat it for a little while, but hang in there. But this one was a little clunky, Jason. I'll say that this round of tariffs should have been smoother, but it is what it is at this point. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. It's the markets are going to react to this stuff, aren't they, Joe? I'm looking. It's just. It's like a crash in slow motion. Is what it feels like, doesn't it, Joe? It's like everybody. It's like you're watching it. You know it's going to happen, but it's happening on a slower time frame. But let's see what happens. There's so many between geopolitics to politics right at home. There's so much. You've always said you don't do a lot of politics on the show, but politics has never been more involved with economics than it is right now.
And you are right about that. And again, right, with executive orders, all of a sudden, politics is part of the financial world. We'll be back right after the break. Quick look in at the markets. The Dow's down 70, but that's nothing. They were down over 500 points this morning. Yesterday, they closed up 500, which I thought was kind of weird, right? Because I'm like, okay, they gave the autos another month, but it's coming, right? And they were very firm on that tariff is going to happen, but the big three said, hey, it's not fair. And my guess is, and I think, Jason, you probably feel the same, they wanted to get more cars in before the tariff took effect, right? And try to get a little more done there in that regard.
Well,
but Wall Street turned around on that.
Joe, real quick, I'm thinking, there's orders made for cars, right? And the price has been set. You order the car. Let's say you're in America, you're ordering so many cars. They're manufacturing them in Japan or wherever. If they come in and hit a rock of a tariff on the way, because it takes a little time to make the cars, they may make it pretty fast, but so yeah, I think that's what that month has to do. It's like, okay, you're getting the tariffs, but yeah, we understand you got to get your orders. You're presently, because that's what would crush the car industry, right? If all their present orders, which have already been paid for at a lower price, suddenly get a 25% tariff or something, right? That's not too good. So yeah,
so that got a delay, but like I said, that should have been done. Right? They should have known this. I don't – if you're going to – maybe the problem is moving this fast, mistakes get made. And obviously there was mistakes made when it comes to this right now. So now just how fast. So now Dow's down 120. Still way off the lows because today news broke that there's going to be more of these exemptions. But we don't know. Are they permanent exemptions or just – okay, well, you get to move to April 2nd. We'll have to wait and see. The S&P's down 40. The NASDAQ's down 150. The 10-year note. Okay, so this is another problem. One of the things that really you got to watch out for is what's going on in Europe. German bonds lost more money in a single day than they've lost going in modern history yesterday. Right now, our 10-year note, so think about our 10-year note, broke below 420, right? It was in the 14s. Right now, 434. So a big move in the last 48 hours. The German bond market, like I said, so when yields rise, so this is something that I think confuses a lot of people. because a lot of people we associate, oh, hey, it's a higher yield. That's good, right? I get, I get more interest if I bought one, so that would be a good thing. Yeah, but it's not a good thing for the people that already bought bonds at a lower yield. So you lose money. Bondholders lose money as yields rise. German 10-year note, 290, and you're like, well, 290, that's nothing. The ECB lowered rates today. German 10-year notes at the beginning of the week were at 240. This is a huge move in a single day. By the way, Japan, their 10-year note, now at the highest level in over 16 years. The UK, France, right? This lower bonds that we were hoping for, and the bad U.S. news was driving our rates down, kind of got reversed, and all of the debt issuance in Germany. And by the way, I think there's going to be a lot more coming, so be ready for that. Gold right now is down $3. Gold's kind of confused. Gold's like, oh, what do you do? No tariffs, no tariffs. But gold's kind of sat here the last couple of days. Yesterday it was above 29.30, but then, autos. So today, right now, 29.17, just kind of sitting around this 29.20 level, waiting for, okay, what is it really going to be? Silver not waiting. Silver up again today, 32.70. And again, I keep stressing to all of you, get more diversified. Understand what's at stake here. What happened in the European bond market, these things don't happen like this very often. And creative accounting, we've got 9 days. 8 days now to a government shutdown, right? How much can we get a spending bill passed? What's it going to look like? All of us, I think everybody's pretty confused here, and they haven't even really, I haven't heard anything about it. Now, today, we got jobless claims, and we got layoff announcements. Jobless claims, here's what's so funny. CNBC, Market Watch, that's always like a headline every Thursday. No headline. Matter of fact, on CNBC, I can't even find it. But it was 221,000, right back. So remember, we had a spike last week, right back down. Nobody believes it. Honestly, they just like, well, this is ridiculous. And they don't even want to report it. Now, the forecast was for 235. Now, continuing unemployment claims were above 1.9 million. So, and again, 2 million, you start getting worried here. But it was a weird number. Like I said, it is what it is. I'm going to tell you what they said. Most people don't believe it. Challenger, Gray, and Christmas. So what do? They're a big data firm, and they sell information. One of the things that they do is they track mass layoff announcements. February, according to Challenger, Gray, and Christmas, 172,017 layoff announcements for the month. That was up 245% from January. It is the highest monthly count going back to July of COVID, right? When people were told don't go to work. By the way, the highest February number going back to the financial crisis, Challenger put the federal job cuts at 62,000. So, Jason, that still meant well over 100,000, what they say are non-government job cuts. So what are these? These are companies that have notified states that they're going to be doing a mass layoff. Retail, so government, like we said, that was 76,000. Retail, 39,000. They were the biggest contributors to the number, Jason. But Challenger Gray and Christmas said hiring plans was only 34,000. So you guys can kind of see where Challenger Gray and Christmas are saying companies notified states of hiring of 34,000 jobs. They notified states of layoffs of 172,000 jobs. So, Jason, obviously that's not a mix you want to see.
And we know that to lower those rates, you need those big job losses, right, Joe? You need those big job losses. You need to be an economic catastrophe to get those rates down.
People have put this out there in the last 2 days. Is the Trump administration trying to get bad numbers? Right? Is this a plan? You know, I'm sitting there criticizing today. Man, you just screwed this whole tariff thing. This should have been done, right? If you were going to give the autos an extension, now today, right, that stuff should have been. Maybe it wasn't done on purpose. I don't know, right? Because you can't get lower rates when you have massive debt auction. Now, we're in emergency measures, so the 10-year note, the bond market's in a little bit of relief because, hey, we're in emergency measures. We're not issuing new debt, right? Things like that. So this problem, you get a little bit of a break. But do they want, you know, we talked about the Atlanta GDP saying recession maybe in the first quarter. You know, it's still early yet, but it's not a great start. Is this what they want? In other words, hey, we know, and Donald Trump did say, hey, there's going to be a little bit of a hiccup. Now, he kind of downplayed it, but is this what they want? Saying, hey, listen, we know this is going to hurt anyway. Let's get it out of the way. Let's get it as bad as we can so we can get these rates to be lower. I don't know. I don't know that anyone tries to sabotage the economy. I don't put a lot of stock in that. It's a good story. But I don't know, Jay. I have a hard time believing, hey, guys, let's take the economy and hope for – now, they may be privately hoping that the numbers aren't very good, but I don't know that they're doing it on purpose.
Well, I mean, firing a lot of government employees, there's a lot of government employees, so the more you could put on the unemployment line, right? So
I want you to focus on that Challenger number. So far – there's just been 76,000 that have gotten that. There's been notice given. Doesn't mean they've been fired, right? But they're gonna be, right? So the number, there's still a long way to go in that number, and it's interesting because normally I would tell you, the president doesn't got that kind of power. He doesn't, They can pretend they do, but they don't. But the way Donald Trump and this administration with all these executive orders, Jason, they kind of do have that power, don't they? They really are kind of changing. As you mentioned it earlier, right? We got to focus a little more on politics because it's become more important because of the power they're wielding.
Yeah, I just have that image of President Camacho when there was resistance at his speech, pulls out the machine gun and says, that's what I'm talking about, right? It seems like we got a government in place that no matter if we like it or don't like it, and I think the average citizen should always be very wary, should not be liking this. But, yeah, I think the presidential position has got more authority now than it's ever had before, Joe, and it can be scary.
Yeah, well, this is from Donald Trump's, I think, True Social. He just tweeted out, you got to follow this stuff, right? I mean, this is how we're getting our information. Government funding runs out next week, saying the Democrats are threatening to shut down the government. There's no doubt about that the Democrats are going to want to claw back a bunch of these cuts that Donald Trump and Doge want to do. but he's saying that he is working with Republicans on a continuing resolution to fund the government until September. So essentially, Trump is saying we're going to go a whole year with no budget. We're going to go a whole year with no budget. He's saying that will give time to work on our agenda. Conservatives will love this bill because it'll sets up to cut taxes and spending and reconciliation and effectively freezing spending this year. Okay. Interesting. So does that mean, I'm reading this, it doesn't look like Trump thinks that they're going to be able to get the tax cuts done. So now we're going to go to a continuing resolution and then see what happens in September. So this is good. That's another question mark now, right? Well, are there going to be tax cuts? Are there not going to be tax? Now, they're already saying they'll make it retroactive to January of this year. But it's hard when you can't plan, right? These businesses need to plan. Interesting thing. So it looks like they're going to try to kick the can down the road one more time. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Thursday. Pretty confusing what's going on with tariffs. Interesting on this CR. This is something where you're like a lot of I'll call them the Freedom Caucus Republicans. They don't like this. So they're going to need them to vote for this. Thomas Massie, he says that he will vote for this if it funds everything in 2025 as the same levels in 2024. So saying Speaker Johnson isn't following the provision in law that would cut everything by 1%. If the CR is extended, past April 2nd. So this was kind of a rule that they put in place to prevent this. Okay, guys, you got to, at some point, get off your butts and get us a budget. The budget already, so March, we'll be 6 months into the fiscal year, 2025, and no budget. So they put this law in place, said, okay, if we go past April 2nd, you have to cut everything 1%. If you do another continuing resolution as a way to force them to do something. Thomas Massie says that he'll vote against. I'm sorry, I read it wrong. I needed to read. He'll vote against the CR if it funds everything at the same level. In other words, saying, hey, the law says we got to cut 1%. So I'm not going to vote for it if that's what you're going to do, and they're going to need those votes, right? That's going to be the issue, Jason. My guess is they'll get no Democrats to vote for this, and Thomas Massie already saying, hey, if you guys aren't going to follow the law, I'm not going to vote for it.
That's going to be, He warned him last year, right, Joe? We played it on the air, on this show and on the Half Empty Cup of Joe. We played it. So, he said, look, this, it's going to be the same old song. And he was chastising the Democrats, and he was then also just saying to the Republicans, you ain't going to do anything right either. But he doesn't want to be a part of fiscal irresponsibility. He obeys the laws. He does what has been passed. He may be the only guy in Washington, D.C., but maybe Rand, and we'll see if Rand Paul's voting for this thing, that it's not a moral dilemma necessarily, but there's some people in Washington, D.C., a couple of them that really want fiscal responsibility. The Democrats are just voting against Republicans. That's just partisan, right? But I don't know. I asked you, I think yesterday or earlier this week, I said, do you think we'll have a shutdown, Joe? Are we having another government shutdown? Are we going to raise the debt ceiling, right? Is that going to happen? And how is that going to look? And do you think any other Republicans will join Thomas Massey? Who's going to be the Al Green of the Republican Party and say no to Trump?
Well, they can afford a couple. I think there will be. I think this ends up by the skin of its teeth, getting by is my guess. That would be my guess. The problem is, will we get Credit Watch negative on this news? That's what we're going to have to look out for. The rating agencies are not going to like this. The fact of the matter is, it also, I'll say this, it probably gives Trump some time, because the bottom line is the amount of spending that they're going to want to do, it's going to be hard. This is a hard one for anybody to accept by kicking the can. Think about all the firing he can do, right? And the cutting that he can do, so that it's already been done and the Democrats can't save something. That may be part of the strategy here. Medicaid comes to mind, right? That's a big one. That's what Al Green, the guy that got tossed, right? That was what he was railing against. I saw the Veterans Administration, they want to fire 76,000 people there. So, Jason, this may be one of these things where they'll do just enough to get it by, but now that gives us the rest of March, April, May, June, July, August to keep cleaning house and really keeping the Democrats from being able to do anything about it. Because the Democrats, that's what they're going to want in this. Oh, you want to spend money? You want to raise the debt ceiling? You want to do all this stuff? This is what it's going to cost you, right? You can't cut Medicare. You can't cut this. You can't cut that. So the question is, what will the rating agencies think? And I don't think they're going to like it.
Downgrade, huh? You think it'll be? You think that'll actually happen?
I think Credit Watch negative is the first step. Without a physical budget passed, it makes it very difficult for the rating agencies not to, because that's not good. Think about it. What are you going to do? Pass a budget in the last 30 days before the fiscal year ends? Because the fiscal year ends March 30 or September 31st. I mean, that's the last day, and then it's fiscal year 2026. Plus, I don't know. What about the debt ceiling? How much longer do we have? I think the debt ceiling, I think we can go another 6 to 8 weeks on that. The emergency measures, I don't know if that's going to be in there. Remember, they wanted to increase that by $4 trillion. Man, I don't know. The whole thing, it's a head scratcher. It really is. It's something where they need pretty much all but a couple of the Republicans to do this. I've never seen it. A government go this far without a budget. So we'll just have to wait and see. But it's another one of those things when you're thinking about why should I be more diversified. I think this is another great example. This is a problem that we cannot get members of Congress to even remotely talk about passing a budget.
We'll have to see how the vote goes down here, and then we'll have to see if the debt ceiling and let's just see what happens, right, Joe? And once again, how big is this budget? How much bigger is it than previous? Has it grown, and by how much? Yeah,
that's when we're looking at what they want in tax cuts. The tariff number every exception they put on the tariffs, every delay, that's less money, so that makes the deficit even bigger, right? Every month that goes by that they don't do what they said in tariffs, I don't know. $3 trillion? Are we going to approach $3 trillion? I don't know. Patriot Radio News Hour. Hey, by the way, a big silver sale coming up next. Wow. talk about needing a head on a swivel. Okay, so we're getting some more information here. I don't have all the details yet, but some Mexican imports will be delayed till April 2nd. So this is okay. So here's the official word now: tariffs on Mexican goods that fall under the USMCA agreement. That is the U.S. Mexico-Canada agreement. This is something I want to say that we signed the last time Trump was president, right? The last time Trump was president until April 2nd. So whatever those are, Mexico will not be required to pay tariffs that fall under that agreement until April 2nd. Trump saying out of respect for the Mexican president. Canada not mentioned in this. So that's a little clarity here. So it's just delayed, kick the can down another 30 days. I don't know what all that does is that's less revenue. That's a higher deficit. The other big news now, the EU. Where's all this money going to come from? $800 billion to, quote, rearm the EU. They're calling it the Rearm Europe Defense Plan. Europe, Germany in particular, saying, hey, we've got no more weapons to give Ukraine. We're out of stock. Right? Think about, what Trump was saying with Zelensky. Germany's like, hey, guys, we're out of stock. Like, we gave you what we had. We don't got any more. And Jason, this is why bond yields are skyrocketing here in Europe. Another $800 billion in spending. And I guess they're just not going to count it. I don't know, right? Funny math, however that's going to work. But that's a lot of debt to hit. That's a lot of spending. This is something where, again, it's so hard to see inflation going anywhere with this type of spending coming out. Today's special, and it's a really, really good one. This is on $half rolls. $half rolls, pre-1965. Some people call it junk silver, utility silver, spendable silver, whatever you want to call it. So remember, the dimes, the quarters, and the $half were 90% silver. So the $half rolls, you get 20 of them in a roll. When it comes to this utility silver, right, the $half are kind of the big deal of the junk silver, right? They always sell at that higher premium. We pay more for them. You get charged more for them. Everyone understands that. They're kind of, when you talk about utility silver, it's the ones that the people like the most. And again, we don't separate them. You're going to get Franklins and Kennedys and Walkers. We don't play games and charge you more for stuff. But great opportunity here. And here's the thing. There's 1,000 rolls available. That's huge. Normally, we're talking 100, maybe 200, 200 rolls. A whole bag is 100 rolls, right? So 2,000 $half makes up a whole bag of junk silver. But by the roll, we've got $2.55, which makes them cheaper than quarters and dimes. If you buy 25 rolls or more, $2.50 a roll. So rolls of silver quarters, Jason, they're $260. Rolls of silver dimes, they're $130. So big savings on $half here. $2.55 for the first 24 rolls. You buy 25 rolls or more, and 25 rolls would be a quarter bag. $250, which is about $6,250 for a quarterback. But, Jason, here's the great part. We got a ton of rules. We got a lot of rules available. Jump on these things. 800-951-0592. And, Jason, when we're sitting there thinking about silver right now, silver is up again today. It's almost $33 right now, $32.75. And, we're sitting here talking about all the gold that's been shipped into the United States. Don't forget, they sent like 50 million ounces of silver here as well. So these tariffs, I haven't seen any exception on silver when it comes to Mexico and Canada. And if it's part of that USMCA deal for Mexico, that means there's only another trade. It only goes to April 2nd. So I really think silver is an absolute screaming buy right here.
It's not getting cheaper, is it, Joe? There might be some pullbacks. I know silver keeps bouncing off 33, and it's either going to keep bouncing off 33 or maybe it comes back. But the last year and a half, we've been watching this action, and there's been some times where it's bouncing off certain levels, and it just keeps going until it breaks through. And Joe, we've always said when it gets to a certain level like 35, watch out. But I'm wondering if breaking through 33 and staying above 33 is now the level that shoots it right to 40 and then beyond.
Yeah, this is really interesting how this is setting up. Every day, I haven't seen Wall Street react almost by the minute as this news breaks about tariffs and everything else. The spending out of Europe it's insane. They don't have the money. By the way, the Dow now down over 300 points as Donald Trump confirming, hey, it's coming. We're just going to give them a few more weeks. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Big sale today on $50 silver, $50 rolls. 20 in a roll. They're $255 a roll. That makes them cheaper than dimes and quarters, which doesn't happen very often. But if you buy 10 rolls or more, 25 rolls or more, you're going to save, be $10 cheaper. Yeah, $250 a roll. So 1 through 24, silver $50 rolls at $255. 25 rolls or more at $250 at 800-951-0592. By the way, the trade deficit number, red hot, $131 billion gap. It is a record, by the way, up 34% from the previous month. This was a January number. Remember, that is a negative for GDP growth. Value of imports rose 10% to over $400 billion. Exports were only up 1%. Canada's trade surplus with the United States hit a record to start the year, driven by exports of cars and parts and autos, right? So some of this probably before the tariffs. Now, again, we didn't know a whole lot. Trump was talking tariffs in January. By the way, we know about gold. That was up about $20 billion just in gold alone. By the way, the Swiss trade deficit also rocketed higher. Of course, gold playing a huge role in that as well. Some people, again, speculating is the United States trying to restock its gold. I don't know. I don't know that it matters one way or the other. I think the biggest thing that everybody needs to pay attention to is how much demand there is in physical gold and silver. And I'm talking about from the massive buyers. right? These are, people laugh like, hey, look at me. I got 1,000 rolls of $50. They're like, that's not even worth our time. 10 bags of $50? No thanks. That's not worth our time. We buy, millions of ounces at a time. That's what we're talking about. As Donald Trump, again, there are still news breaking on the tariffs. Mexico getting a reprieve till April 2nd. But that will not go further than that. He did take another swipe at Canada's Prime Minister Trudeau, saying they've done a terrible job in Canada using the tariff as a problem, which he has widely caused here. So doesn't look like we're going to get any more reprieves for Canada and Mexico full on now starting April the 2nd, which was when Europe's supposed to start. The Dow now down 400 points. The S&P down 81. The NASDAQ down 350. Gold, $29.19. It's down 30 cents. And silver, like I said, $32.75.